Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing ass says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
This is so exciting. With all the craptastic news that's out there, it's always good to have good friends in studio. It's a warming feeling. This is the Staying With Your Community. Before we get started, and I tell you who's in studio with me, I have to thank our sponsors who make these conversations possible. Thank you to Source Solar, your source for solar in Illinois. Go to source.solar and make an appointment with them and find out if you can get solar panels on your house, because they have over 100,000 satisfied customers. And Mom and I are actually going to make an appointment, and Peter and Warren will be in studio in the next few weeks to talk to you more about that, go over the details. And we want to thank Kirk Bankstead, Monaco Brewing Company, of course, MonacoBrewingCompany.com. They've got great beer, great wine. If you don't partake in the beverages, they also have sodas like root beer, orange soda, Nope Seltzer, Woke coffee, and they've got tons of great T-shirts for you to share some of your, some of your sentiments about what's going on, because I'm sure that my guests in the studio have a lot to say. Joining us is a regular, both regulars on the show. Adam Selzer is an author, historian, and tour guide, and he has an event coming up tomorrow that we want to make sure you guys know about. And the committee woman of the 40th Ward and one of the local organizers for Operation Swing State is Maggie O'Keefe. And first of all, let me start with Maggie's event, because Maggie had a big event in the 40th Ward at Whiskey Girl Tavern. And thank you for giving me a couple moments to go up and speak.
Of course, anytime.
And I talked so fast, Adam. Because people had been sitting for a while, and I wanted them to keep the energy of the information that was shared about, voter turnout,
for sure,
how we're going to get this done, going into elections, and of course, Adam and I spent many days door knocking in Wisconsin, fibs for Wisconsin. So I'm going to figure out a way I got to get some buttons for people for Operation Swing State.
Oh, I got some.
Awesome.
I will bring them.
But I'll bring you some fibs for Wisconsin.
Okay.
Some people don't like that. We had a couple people who were like, I don't really appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. Yesterday I was in the microfilm room looking at 1830 stuff for tomorrow's thing, and I found an ad saying, calling all Hoosiers, Wolverines, and suckers.
Oh.
Illinois used to be the sucker state.
No.
Like lollipop suckers?
No one really knows where it came from, probably to do with suckerfish, because people would go migrate up to Galena and then back, like the migratory pattern of the suckerfish.
Right.
But nobody really knows where that came from. Wolverines were Michigan, Hoosiers, of course, still Indiana, and Illinois was the sucker state.
Wow. And where did you grew up in somewhere in the more east, yes?
In New York.
In New
Just
York.
upstate of New York City.
And what is New Yorkers, the state overall? Like, if we're Illini, I guess, kind of.
Yeah.
The Wisconsin,
we're the tri-state.
Just tri-state.
Yeah.
Everyone else has.
That's where I'm from. I'm from the tri-state.
Is that they call it the tri-state?
Yeah. So I grew up in a town where the reservoir for New York City ran through my town of 20,000 people.
Oh wow.
Yeah. No big deal.
Adam's lived in Iowa as well as Georgia.
Oh.
And the school that we're going to be benefiting.
Well, it's a theater down in the Snellville Performing Arts. So where my nephew performs there, it's a safe, inclusive space for kids who, a town where I think they probably really need one. I haven't lived there in a really long time. So I know it's very different now. I mean, now every time the elections are coming in, they talk about reliably blue Gwinnett County.
Right.
It was not that way when I lived there.
Yeah.
Of course.
I remember we did the mock election at the high school, and Bob Dole got 80% or something.
Wow.
Jealous.
Well, and that's the thing, too, though. We've seen it the other way. We've seen places that were purple or voted for Obama and then still went for Trump, which is just crazy.
Yeah, well, is it?
It feels crazy. How about it feels crazy?
I mean, I feel crazy.
And
People are crazy and times are strange.
I'm trying not to ask people how they're doing, because I feel it forces people to lie.
Yeah.
So I'm asking people if they're hydrating. Are you hydrating?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes. I had a lot of red drink today, though.
What's red drink?
I don't know. My business partner, Demi,
said drink red drink?
Yeah, she had a picture of it, and it was really yummy.
Okay.
So there's water in there.
Well, I'll grab you guys during the break. I know I have some Nope seltzers in the fridge. So I'll grab you some beverages to stay hydrated. I drink a full glass of water in the morning.
Right.
And then the next one, there's these packets. You know, people like use these supplements in water for electrolytes. There's one I love called Element, and they're salty. So they're like, it's like having a little margarita in the morning because it's lemon lime or raspberry. Today it's watermelon. Are you hydrating?
Well, did you just mention there's a drink in there called Nope Seltzer?
Yeah.
That's just. I've heard that. Where have I heard that before?
Nope. Seltzers remind you of high school?
Yeah,
what?
reminds me of high school and college and my 20s and my 30s and my 40s.
So Adam and I spent a lot of time door knocking in Wisconsin, but we haven't been to where you're heading with Operation Swing State this Saturday.
Yeah, we're going to Milwaukee, and we're going to Milwaukee every weekend.
Every weekend.
Yeah, that's where they want us this time.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And it makes sense because the numbers I saw Adam was basically if 3% more voters, regardless of who they were going to vote for, if 3% more had shown up in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But it was bigger numbers. It had to be bigger numbers in Pennsylvania. Yeah. So I mean, I'm just saying.
Right.
Well, this is an election about turnout, not change.
Absolutely.
This is not a change election. This is a turnout election.
I think they're all turnout elections in a lot of ways.
They've also all been change elections too.
But they always are. But but especially for something like state Supreme Court in an off-month election.
Yeah.
Well, we don't want it to be a change election, though.
No.
Because right now we're at a 4-3.
They also have it's also their superintendent for their schools is on the ballot.
Okay.
And Musk and their ilk are pouring money into those races because the opponent the challenger is a charter school executive. So there's two. So in addition to the Supreme Court, so it's all turnout. I agree. We got to get as many people, and I'm excited to go to Milwaukee.
Yeah.
What time are you guys meeting up to carpool up to Milwaukee, and where?
We will get up there at noon.
You're leaving Chicago at noon, or getting?
We're leaving around 10.
Around 10. Okay.
Yeah, just so we can make sure we get up there.
Yeah.
And then we'll knock doors for some hours and get back home for dinner.
Excellent. And so, we recommend. Where do we recommend, Adam? We recommend everyone stop.
Oh, well, we always go to Broad Stop, of course.
She talked about it. I'm like, sure, whatever you want.
It's so freaking good. I actually still had a set of brats from the last time we were there in my freezer, so I'm having those for dinner tonight.
Oh, man, I'm hungry now.
They're next level. I mean, you think you've had brats until you've had brats.
Until you've had their jalapeno cheddar brats.
Oh, my God. Okay, anyway. So how do folks reserve and make sure they have a space to let you know how many people are showing up on Saturday to go door knocking? Yeah,
well, we have 5 weekends. Mm-hmm. So starting this Saturday, Operation Swing State is in full effect, and then we'll hit Sundays mid-March. And if you go to operationswingstate.com, you can find how you can sign up on our Mobilize to either drive directly there and meet us up there or stop at one of our staging locations before you head up and put some people in your car and do it up.
How do you feel about driving to Milwaukee with me Saturday, Adam?
Possibly.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to see what's up on Saturday.
I mean, there's a meal involved in it for you.
Right. There's some sausage. Is that what you said?
Yeah, stock up. Yeah, stock up that freezer.
Yeah, it's about to be my travel season too. I leave for New York in a week.
Right. So maybe
for the first of, and then I leave for New York again in 2 weeks, I think.
And then Adam's also traveling. He follows Bob Dylan dates. So you just came from one on Friday. Were you at one on Friday? It was a different concert.
No, I was at a different concert on Friday. That was a weird concert experience, too. It was Kelsey Carter and the Heroines, who has a great new album out called Love Made Me Do It. I've been wanting to see her for a long time. The new album was so good. She played at Cobra Lounge, a very small place.
I love Cobra Lounge.
Well, first of all, this band Ace Monroe came out. They looked like they were frozen in carbonite at the Purple Hotel in 1977 and just got back out. And nobody's even told them that it's 1978 yet, let alone anything else. And they played like they got their start playing Kiss covers in a garage. It was super fun.
I haven't been to Cobra Launch. I'm not.
It's been a minute.
The next was an acoustic set from Adam Slack of the Struts, which is if you know Mandy, it's her favorite band, so they're a pretty big band. They play much larger venues, but it turns out he's Kelsey Carter's boyfriend. It was their 6-year anniversary.
Gotcha.
But then during her set, he ended up standing right next to me, so she kept looking over apparently at me and talking about how much she loved Adam and how great Adam was. Which for her, I just went ahead and indulged and enjoyed it.
That's so
but
I
yeah,
love that.
Kelsey Carter and the Heroines, their new album is so much fun. It's
Okay.
good, sleazy rock about lonely hearts and runaways and cheap motels on the Sunset Strip.
I'm gonna
That
check
kind of
that out.
stuff.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna check that out.
I'm down.
I'm down. And also tomorrow is Adam's virtual tour at 8 p.m. Tell folks about
Yeah, 8 p.m. tomorrow, we're going to be doing a tour about theatrical history in Chicago. And that's all going to be, my virtual tours are all just free, pay what you like. This one is all the donations are going to a group called Snellville Performing Arts down in Snellville, Georgia, where my nephew performs. It's a safe and inclusive space in an area where kids probably really need one, where they can do everything from lessons to full-scale productions. My nephew is going to be dancing in Hadestown pretty soon.
Oh, okay.
Which is going to be really cool, I think.
See, that's why you should go TikTok Live. You can make some money while you're doing your little
Yes,
virtual
that
tours.
never worked for me on TikTok so far. So it's always just been going through. You can watch it on the Mysterious Chicago Facebook. You can watch it on YouTube.com/Adam Selzer, or the Adam Chicago Twitch feed will have it as well.
Excellent.
Being able to get it onto there's some extra hoops you have to jump through to go from the program that I use onto TikTok that I've never quite gotten through on.
Sure.
Yeah, so for research yesterday, I was in the microfilm room looking up. I'd read transcripts before, but I'd never actually gone to see the first theatrical ad in Chicago. In February of 1834, a guy named Mr. Bowser came through town and did a demonstration where he ate fire, did some ventriloquism, dipped his fingers in molten lead, then licked a red-hot iron. And this was entertainment at the time.
Is that how we got Bowser?
I doubt it, because as far as we know, he also did this performance once in Cleveland and once before, and then never again, as far as anyone knows.
Okay.
So he just kind of came out of nowhere, ate some fire. Possibly he just didn't survive eating the fire.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, okay, right.
We've got a couple texts. The sucker stuff, hick business. Someone said, I think, did you mention that we used to be the candy capital of the country? I guess that might be.
Well, it wouldn't have been. This is 1830s stuff. It would have been.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been the sucker
We didn't have much of a candy. We didn't have much of a candy empire going in 1834 when this ad came up.
Yeah, and Adam does a tremendous amount of research. Like, it'll be anything from true crimes to politics and things like that. Do you ever think, Adam, like about the stuff that we're going through, the times that we're living in, like what is going to be sort of because we have so much digital, like right now.
Yeah,
Maggie's
there's going to be so much more to find.
TikTok
I'm on
live video.
TikTok. Hi, Elliot. He's loving it. Elliot.
Hi, Elliot Serrano. Excellent.
Hey, Elliot.
Well, so Maggie, for your audience, both on the radio and on TikTok Live, tell folks about while many people are feeling helpless and this seems out of control, what's left? What can I do? I mean, having that meeting, I think on Sunday, I think is the kind of impactful moment we all need to be showing up for. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, I, even as a political figure in Chicago, an organizer, a strategist, I too am feeling very down. I too have a hard time getting out of bed. I too cried today about the passing in the first read passing of dismantling gay marriage, for example. So it is very disheartening and very concerning. So to that end, this is when we have to organize. We went over all of the voter data from 2012 to 2024, and we see that huge increase in turnout in 2016, and then we slowly started seeing it decline, both in primaries and in generals. Now, that happens when you have, well, not in 2016, but, you see that decline when we have a sitting incumbent of your party. We always see declines in people turning out to vote. But that is the most important time to vote, particularly in primaries, because you want to get those right candidates in office to win their primary to then hopefully go to the general. So, you got to go over the history. You got to go over the data to understand how we go from here. And really, if we were, I could only imagine if I put the graph from 2016 to 2024 and mirror it to 2008 to 2016, that graph would see a huge spike in 2008 and slowly start going down again in Democratic turnout, right? President Obama being my reference point there. So this is the issue that we have as Democrats. And we do not turn out to vote in every election.
Is there an effort with the data that they have, like, let's say with what we're going to do in Wisconsin for Operation Swing State?
Right.
Because my thing is, I want to go knock on all the doors for the people who didn't show up in the general election.
Yes, and that data is like available, but not universal yet.
Okay.
So, like, I don't have access to that unless I go down and FOIA it down at my local, at the Chicago Board of Elections. Like, it doesn't live on the vote builder yet. I can't see who didn't vote but voted in 2020 yet.
I want those people. I want to show up on your porch and not like
100%.
And say, hi, we would love it if you showed up and vote. You would probably love it if you showed up and voted. We are hanging out with Adam Selzer, author, historian, and tour guide. His virtual tour tomorrow on the history of Chicago
Theater. Yep, and, from the earliest days up to about, I think I'm only going to make it to the turn of the 20th century, but there's so many wild stories in the middle of that. There's the time Edwin Booth was nearly assassinated on stage. There's John Wilkes Booth's period in Chicago, and Junius, their father, came in 1848, too. And yesterday at the archives, I found a handwritten letter by Junius Booth in a folder.
Cats. Look at that.
Just like, he was just flipping through a folder, and it's like, signed Junius B. Booth, and it's actually legible, so it must have been one of the very rare slivers of time that he was sober, too.
Wow. And we got to tune in for that tour. It's tomorrow night, 8 o'clock on Facebook, or we'll go to Mysterious Chicago.
Facebook, MysteriousChicago.com, or AdamChicago.com is probably easier to remember.
And that will benefit Snellville Performing
Arts.
And on Saturday, we'll be heading up to, maybe Adam will be coming with us, but Maggie and I will definitely be in Wisconsin door knocking. With Operation Swing State. They have an important Supreme Court race. We're going to get Judge Susan Crawford on the Supreme Court, as well as making sure that charter schools do not prevail in Wisconsin. They've already really devastated the public school funding there. Let's not let the flooding continue. Let's take a break here and continue our conversation on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez on WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. I'm your host, Patti Vasquez, and joining me in studio is committee woman of the 40th Ward. Do you have a committee woman or committee person?
Woman.
Committee woman of the 40th Ward. For folks who, we also have Adam Selzer in studio. He's an author, historian, and tour guide, and has a great virtual tour coming up tomorrow. Before you moved to Chicago, and you're growing up, did you ever, were you familiar with what committee people did in your area? Right? And yet we vote for them.
In Snellville, Georgia?
Or
I'm
wherever.
not sure if we had. I don't know. We lived in unincorporated Snellville out in the outskirts, so I don't think we could even vote in the mayoral election.
You may have had precinct committee people, which is a little bit
Never
smaller.
heard of them, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So even now...
Yeah, we certainly didn't have aldermen or anything.
Well, I really, it's like anything else. Until you come, face to face or get slapped in the face with something, you don't really have a grasp on what committee people do. I ran for state rep. Well, I threw my hat in the ring for an appointment process, not understanding that committee people is like this weighted vote thing, depending on how many voters they have in their area, what the voter turnout.
How much the turnout is.
Yes. So those kinds of things. And I did not know that 30% of our electeds in Springfield are appointed. They're appointed by our committee people who you vote for and you just think, oh, I like that Irish name, which you have a great Irish name. I'm not saying you specifically. I'm saying in general, people have no idea who their committee people are, not realizing how much power in that sense, but also how important they are in organizing and keeping people informed. And Maggie is so well beloved in her community for the work that she does, and really is so much of an inspiration for, I think, for a lot of people, and you bring a lot of energy and passion to it. That a lot of other, I'm not saying that I have an area that was like that for a little while, but I mean, we had a Republican and Democrats clothing for a committee person, and
sure did,
and just wrote on his popularity. So for folks who don't know, in addition to what I just said, how do you explain what a committee person does?
Well, I think being a committee person is what you put into it is what you get out of it. So as one of few committee people that are not also elected officials, meaning I don't hold another title other than committee person, I really can spend my time effectively as in the political realm for the Democratic Party. And I'm not insulating myself because I don't have an elected title other than this one, although I have to collect more signatures than the alderman.
Really?
I do, yeah. About double. I know, which means you have to do at least 2 times that, right? So anyway, a committee person is your political representative on the Cook County Democratic Party, and what we are charged to do is, to make sure that that Democrats are coming out to vote, that they're voting for the candidates that we slate, that we have enough election judges on election day. We actually have to choose the polling locations, and we work with the Chicago Board of Elections. Yes,
I didn't know that.
And this election will now be when they are in they must be ADA accessible. So up until this last election, it was like not mandatory. Now it will be mandatory that every polling place will be accessible. So when I was working on a campaign in 2018, this is a hilarious story, out on the southwest side near Midway, where that was Madigan and Ed Burke territory, I'm not kidding, it shocked me. I had to stand outside for a minute to really understand what was going on. There was a polling place in someone's home basement.
Oh my God. Yeah, I've heard of these things.
It was wild.
Yeah. I've heard it in the back of bars. Obviously, a lot of
bars, whatever. Someone's basement.
Was it categorized like as a business? So it was like their office, and that was why they could?
I have no idea.
That is wild.
Yeah, so now we've reduced from where we can have them. So no more at fire stations or police stations, no more homes, no more bars if they can try to stop it. Some areas
it's an American tradition to ply your voters with alcohol,
Yeah, I mean,
back to George Washington,
Yes, I know.
And Chicago, there's all kinds
of course, yeah.
Yes.
But now it's, trying to make it more fair, and we're trying to do more voting centers, meaning multiple precinct locations at one location, because what we're seeing in the data, at least in the 40th ward, but it's probably citywide. Oh, no, it is citywide. Excuse me. That we are seeing more people show up to vote either by mail or early in person than election day itself. So the amount of people that we have to, for example, employ on election day as election judges, we can kind of reduce those amounts down if you have less places to open.
I like, we have 3 precincts in one location at a school nearby. I do kind of miss, I used to be able to just cross the park. I have a playground across the street from me. Yeah. That field house used to be my voting location. I do kind of miss it. It was nice to just skip across the street, bring my boys.
Of course.
First time now. We're at a school, just right down the street here. Oh, okay. The school on Carmen over here. Okay. Yeah, Catalpa. But at any rate, I will tell you one of the things that I don't know if I ever told you this story, and I think I maybe have mentioned it before. I was at that voting location for primary when Rauner was running. So this is in the primary. I believe Chicago had less than a 16% turnout. So I asked for the digital, and they said, do you want to wait? Someone's using it. And I said, sure. So I waited on some mats. It was a gymnasium.
Sure.
And it was an older woman with a cane, and she finished up, and she turned in her card and started walking away. She was at the doors, and the election judges started talking about how her ballot was bad, and they were like, oh, well, she already left, and they were going to throw it away. And I was like, I can't even, I was, and by the way,
throw things away.
I became a judge of election because of that moment later. But I ran and caught up with her. She was about to get in her car. She had her hand on the door handle, and I told her what had happened. And I said, "Do you want to come back in and vote? They're going to throw your vote out otherwise." And she goes, She goes, if I go in there, because the sun was going down, she goes, I won't be able to stop for groceries because I can't drive in the dark. And she went back inside and told me the story about how she used to work at City Hall and how upset she was that this governor, the Republicans looked like they were going to beat Quinn at the time. And she cast her ballot, and I'll never forget that. And so but that's the work the election, the judges of election, I was really angry about that.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's a give up thing. That's just like, it was really a shrug their shoulders and like, oh, well, I mean, like this lady had, taken everything she had left for that day to put it into voting. And that's why I can't believe, to both your points about people not showing up, like, I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't either. There's in the 40th, we have approximately, we usually hit 83% of the turnout is consistently Democratic, but our turnout this last election was 75.77%. So that means like just under 25% of people didn't come out to vote, and that's pretty standard for us. Mm-hmm. But that shouldn't. But we shouldn't be like, okay, next,
right? Yeah,
right? We have to we have to figure out why.
Yeah, exactly. Adam, by the way, we've got an invitation for all of us for Saturday. Tom Holland, not Spider-Man. He's a blues musician. He's a guitarist. Yeah,
he plays at Carrie's.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so he'll be playing at Geneva Stage in Lake Geneva on Saturday. So we can stop. So we can always skip the Brat Stop and just go hang out at the or do both in Lake Geneva, Geneva Stage. So I'm just,
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you, Tom. And I believe he lives in your ward. I believe he's a 40th warder.
Tom Holland. Hi, Tom. Where do you live? What precinct are you voting?
Because I feel like Andre's his alderperson. She had a great event at Whiskey Girl Tavern. I don't know how we haven't hung out there yet, Adam. Have you?
It's right by me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very close to you.
You should totally go.
Yeah, it's
a lesbian bar.
Yeah, I know. Well, there's a lot of lesbian bars in that vicinity.
Like I was he's like I know.
It's like that's the part of the ward that it's like the other side of Andersonville.
Right.
And we also have some folks texting. So we have a text from one of our listeners, Allison, who's sharing information about making sure that you are messaging your legislators. You want to advocate for protection of HCBS waiver funding. A lot of this has to do with care for individuals with disabilities and for seniors. So there's also home and community-based services, which is a crucial part of Medicaid. Well, here's the thing, and we talked about that, and I don't know what to tell the folks who are scared about losing their services. I don't have anything good to tell you.
Okay, well, if you don't, then and our electeds don't, then
So this was something that made me crazy. This is why I went to Springfield when Rauner was in office, was because there were people who, when they were losing their home-based services, had no other choice but to have their loved one possibly in a housing situation away from them. They had to put them in residential situations where they get more medical care. Mm-hmm. The longer somebody can live in their home as independently as possible, I think the better outcomes, not just for their family, but for themselves, their community. Sure. At any rate. So thank you for that information, Allison. So make sure that we are we have that information as well to get a hold of your legislators. You know what? I got to find a way to get this off to folks. I'll send this to Jerry so he can put that up on our Facebook page. And Tom Holland says, I've been an election judge in the 40th for the last 4 or 5 election cycles, thanks to Maggie's suggestion.
Did I come and feed you? I must have.
I bet you did.
I always bring pizza.
That's always. I remember, man. I will tell you something. The folks at the election judges, if you don't get there in time with your donuts and coffee, because our person had lost their election, John Arena had just lost.
Yeah.
So he
was not showing up.
He was not.
They
were not happy about that.
I knew that's what I inherited when I became the committee person. That was something that was very clear to me that I had to continue that with inflation and everything, it has been a nightmare of...
Oh, yeah.
I love feeding them. Like, they deserve it. They're there from 4 in the morning till 7 p.m. at night. Like, even longer.
It's, because you have to get all the totals. Yeah.
Right. So I love doing that. The nightmare is that the money, like, it continues to go up and up. It's higher and higher, increase in spending on election day. So I'm looking at a $3,000 price tag on election day. At minimum, that's donuts, coffee,
and he says you have fed and visited every election.
Yes,
so there you go.
Tom. Oh, I think I know who you are, Tom.
Tom's super cool. Let's take a break here. We're gonna take a break, and we're gonna come back and talk to Lou Ness, who is a write-in candidate for Woodstock City Council, and I look forward to that conversation. We have Adam Selzer, whose virtual tour tomorrow at 8:00 will benefit Snellville Performing Arts. So make sure you go to Mysterious Chicago on Facebook or AdamChicago.com. Be on the mailing list so you get all the alerts about when he has his great events.
In-person tours will be starting back up probably in the next month, I hope. So.
Yay. Excellent.
All depends on the weather, really. March is always kind of a crapshoot in Chicago, you know?
Well, I know it's like 55 now. It'll be like 25 in March. And then Operation Swing State, Maggie is going to be traveling up to Milwaukee on every Saturday through their election on April 1st. Early voting for them, I believe, starts on March 17th.
Yeah, they just had their election yesterday.
Oh, their primary? But the early voting starts in March.
Probably very soon.
So we're going to get up there and get as many people out to vote. So go to
OperationSwingState.com.
Excellent. And sign up. Come with us to Milwaukee.
Out.
Let's take a break here, and we'll talk to Lou when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
Count me among the Americans that want to see change. Now, of course, the change I was looking for would have put Kamala Harris in the White House. Americans voted for change. They just, Trump, I think they got the wrong kind. Still, I'm grateful for elections, even when we lose. You know, they tell us about ourselves, and we can't ignore that and shouldn't.
The Big Picture with Edwin Eisendrath, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
Hey, Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Vasquez, we appreciate all our fans of Driving It Home, and your support of show sponsor Minocqua Brewing Company ensures that our important conversations continue right here on WCPT each weekday from 5 to 7 p.m. You can now find the Resistance IPA, Labor Lager, or the Resistance Pilsner beer at several Illinois locations, including Arminetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Pineapple and Company in North Riverside, Lyons Beverage Depot in Arlington Heights, and MP's Liquor, Wine, and Beer in North Aurora. For a full list of Chicagoland locations, please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. As always, please vote and drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez on WCPT 820.
Have a lovely text from a listener in the 773. Whiskey Girl Tavern is a proud supporter of Illuminated Brew Works in the Northwest Sides. Oh, yeah, we love, are you kidding me? Illuminated Brewery is fantastic. It's on Northwest Highway. I grew up like a block away from Illuminated Brew. Love them. And it's, they're in an old dry clean. No, the dry cleaner is where the wine store is, but like that whole, like there's a car wash.
Yeah.
Okay, can we talk about the crazy car wash people every time it gets us a little bit warm outside?
You mean like the lines out?
Oh, my God.
For blocks?
Yeah.
What is...
I still haven't gotten my car cleaned.
I don't know.
I finally drove by one that wasn't a long line the other day, but my car was mostly salt, I think.
Yeah, my car is all salt.
A lot of salt. Yeah. Well, folks, if you... and I encourage you always to drink responsibly if you're going to drive, but Illuminated Brew is so freaking good. I don't think Sayre hits Northwest Highway. My friend from the 773, remind me the address. And we have... I want to let folks know about that because I keep forgetting to reach out to them. Let's get to Lou Ness, who is running for City Council as a write-in candidate in Woodstock. Lou, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
We're good. My apologies for running a little bit late. So I'm thrilled to have you on the air. You're on with Maggie O'Keefe, who is a committeewoman of the 40th Ward here in Chicago, and Adam Selzer, who's an author, historian, and tour guide. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you grow up, Lou?
I grew up in Lansing, Illinois. I was born on the east side of Chicago. Yes, there is an east side of Chicago.
Well, like the sewage treatment, the water treatment plant, or what?
Well, Lansing.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
No.
Daddy was a cop on the east side of Chicago.
103rd and Avenue N. So,
I see. 10th Ward, maybe?
No, but Lansing is isn't Lansing outside of Chicago?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's south. It's south. And then in 1967, I was inducted into the Army and transferred to the South, and then came back. When I came back in 69, I came back to the sort of the McHenry County area. And so I've been here ever since.
What kind of work did you do in the Army, Lou?
Okay. All right. I sang and danced.
Hey!
All right.
I love that. Excellent.
Yes, that was what I did. I was in the 3rd Army Soldier Show, which was soldiers entertaining soldiers. And the irony is we traveled all over the 3rd and 5th Army, which is the eastern part of the country, and performed in Tigerland training camps where, you know, I mean, I was young. I was 18, right? And here were all these young men who were then shipped to Vietnam. But I loved my time in the military. And so then I got out.
Do you remember any numbers you did?
Yeah, what were some of the numbers that you did?
Okay, I don't really want to talk about that.
Well, here, let me say this. Let me just say this part though. I know that you kind of hesitated to tell us what you did in the Army, but think about the U.S. Army Chorus performing Les Mis, and
gosh.
Do You Hear the People Sing?
I know,
Amazing,
Isn't that great.
So there's all kinds of heroes, and so I don't want to hear that sort of hitch in your voice when you say because we're proud of you and we're grateful for the work you've done.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, and I am currently the commander of the American Legion in Woodstock, Post 412. So I feel like, you know, our service continues.
Yeah.
Even though we're not in the military, we're not in active duty, but our oath is lifelong. Our oath never goes away.
That's right.
And running for office is just another way of serving.
Yep.
My community.
Outstanding. By the way, before this text gets away from me, a listener says, I grew up at 103rd and Avenue O, the Greater East Side, Fast Eddie Verdoliak's neighborhood. So, neighbors chiming in.
Oh, so I love it.
That's great.
Love it.
Now, I'm a huge fan of Woodstock. I'm absolutely in love with the community. I've had the pleasure of performing there and staying there, shopping there. We've done comedy festivals there. Tell folks a little bit about the community and why you are seeking a position on City Council.
Well, I just finished 2 years on the McHenry County Board and then lost my bid for reelection like every other Democratic female candidate in this county in 2024. And afterwards, I was like sad for a week because that's about all I can take of being depressed. And then I just thought, you know, I love Woodstock. Woodstock is on track to become the largest community in McHenry County. Mm-hmm. And it is innovative. It is a sort of an art-centered, liberal community. It's very eclectic. People here are very engaged in this community. It's still a very neighborhood kind of community, and yet it has some amazing growth opportunities in front of it, and I want to be a part of that.
That's fantastic. And would you say in general, it seems like that area did really tilt very heavily to the right in the last election? Because I'm kind of familiar with the mayor, and I had, you know, it was one of those things where in person he was always really cool, and then you'd see the horrible things that they would put on social media, and I'd be like,
Well, so Mike Turner publicly supported me in the McHenry County race.
Okay.
I mean, he issued a letter. Mike and I probably disagree on a number of things, and we would say that. to each other. But what we really do agree on is the thoughtful and deliberate development and growth in Woodstock to serve Woodstock. Now, I'm going to tell you, every Democrat won Woodstock. Woodstock is a Democratic.
What happened? Did you fall down? I feel like you fell down a hole. You all right?
Yeah. So
the last
Woodstock
step's a doozy.
is a very liberal Democratic community. I would say 62% of voters in Woodstock are Democrats.
Okay.
Like you leave Woodstock, and you just fall right off the edge of the red cliff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how else to say it. It's like I guess I was really I was shocked. I'm not naive, but I was shocked, and so we Democrats, we have work to do.
Sure.
Here.
Sure
Yeah.
do.
And so, yeah, we do. We have to be thoughtful and strategic about it and help people understand what Democrats actually do for you.
Yeah, I agree.
Be more clear about our messaging.
Well, these elections. I'm sorry. These elections are when we can start getting out on the ground and talking about democratic values, right? Like these small elections, these off-year elections, these build-year elections are when we need to be talking to people at their doors, not just because it's an election, but when there aren't elections as well.
Yeah, I love that you're doing this. And what has been the sort of the type of energy behind the support? Like, are people getting out there? Because we want to make sure people know about volunteering and door knocking. What can we do?
Yeah, you know what? There's a lot of energy. I'm a write-in candidate, so Woodstock is a nonpartisan community. I guess I actually didn't realize that. And when you had to file petitions, I was still running for county board.
I see.
And so, I actually did think I was going to win, so I would not run for two positions at one time. That kind of bothers me.
I agree.
But, so because I did that, then I had to file as a write-in candidate. So you have to fill the black bullet in, and then you have to write my name on the line. But you know what? I feel really good.
You should.
I say that with just a little trepidation because I felt really good in November. But I don't know. I feel like people are excited about me running, and I've been in this community for 34 years. I've been active. Like I said, I'm the commander of the Legion. I'm the chair of the Woodstock Historic Preservation Commission. So I don't know. I feel like people know me. They know that I've governed. I know one really smart thing. I know when to keep my mouth shut.
Oh, teach me. How can I learn from you?
You wouldn't have a radio show if that was the case, Patty.
Okay, at least impulse control. I have impulse control issues.
Whatever.
Yeah.
How many polling places are there in Woodstock, Lou?
Oh my gosh, you would ask me that.
I was wondering because I would think one of the most important things is that last touch. As a write-in candidate, you need people to give you that piece of paper that says, "Hey, don't forget to write in Lou." It's it's kind of a unique situation.
Well, it'll be on the ballot.
Okay.
So when you pull your ballot, right, a nonpartisan ballot, you'll go to City Council, and then all the candidates will be listed, and there'll be a line. And in that line, that's where you write my name.
Totally.
All right. And so it's Lou Ness. It's Lou Ness, by the way,
Lou,
folks.
Right. LOUNESS.
Is your slogan, I'm not the Loch Ness. I'm the Lou Ness.
I'm the Lou Ness. It's a really cool name.
Oh, yeah, you just switch the U to the side.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then it's Loch Ness.
Okay, so we're all here ready to be hired.
Yep.
What day is Go ahead. You go, Lou.
Well, and the other thing, since I have the viewing public, the listening public, I just think it's important for people to step up that are reasonable and responsible and run for office. And I don't care what it is, city council, township, school board, library board, you know, whatever it is, that we could take a lesson from the MAGA playbook, which is to infiltrate at local levels, all put Democrats everywhere you can. So I think it's important. I think it's important we step up and, you know, I'm a little frustrated when people will come to me and say, what have you Democrats been doing? I just want to say, what the, oh, wait, okay.
Yeah. I got my button ready. Yes. What in the frickin' frack? What in the frickin' frack works?
Frickin' frack works.
Yeah, I have been doing something since 2016. So my daughter is State Rep Sue Ness in the 66. Okay. So I feel like our family has stepped up and has served and contributed a lot to our community to protect the things that are important to us. So I just want other people to step up and do their part.
Outstanding. And you can like as we've been talking about, your service to your country, to your community is outstanding. So I encourage folks to get involved. How can they volunteer and help get the word out in Woodstock?
Well, I do have a website, citizensforlouness.com. You can click on there if you want to volunteer. My personal phone number is on my website. Okay, 815-404-7246. If you call me, I'll put you to work.
I love it. You are fantastic. I would love if you happen to be in the area. I know you're going to be busy until after the election. Yeah. And by the way, early voting starts March 17th, folks, and the election is on April 1st.
St. Patrick's Day.
That's right. It's funny that somebody had vote Patty for St. Patty's Day. We got so screwed out of that. I really did. Anyway. Lou, I'd love to have you in studio sometime and sit down and talk to you for an hour. Okay. Whenever you have time.
I would love to do that. Oh. I would love to do. And thank you for everything you do, you guys. And just remember, yes, there is an east side to Chicago.
The greater east side, apparently.
Not the Loch Ness.
That's so
I learned that from Paper Lays, actually.
Outstanding. I love it. Yes, I would love to have you in studio. We're on the northwest side, so not that close to where you grew up. But thank you so much, right. Lou. And please check in with us. I may not be able to have you in studio before the election, but let's get folks. Let's remind them in a couple weeks, especially as we get closer to early voting starting on the 17th. Okay.
Thank you so much, y'all.
All right.
Take care.
You too. We're going to go to Woodstock and do some door knocking for Lou. Thanks, Lou. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Let's take a break here. We're in studio with Maggie O'Keefe, 40th Ward Committee Woman. We're going up to Milwaukee on Saturday with Operation Swing State. Go to operationswingstate.org and register for that. Tomorrow is Adam Selzer's virtual tour, the Chicago Theater History.
Chicago Theater History tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Check out the Mysterious Chicago Facebook is going to be where the most lively conversation is going to be. But there's also a Facebook link. There's a Twitch link. It doesn't cost anything to log on. Just throw some donations while you can at Snellville Performing Arts.
I love that, and I have to make sure I'm on that tour. By the way, I just got a call from Wisconsin. I think they're calling to see if I'll go door knocking from Sun Prairies, from Walworth. Let's take a break here, and we'll continue our conversation when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
There's so much that goes on behind closed doors.
On WCPT 820.
Thank you for joining us as we drive it home with 40th Ward Committee Woman Maggie O'Keefe and author, historian, and tour guide Adam Selzer. That promo behind, there's so much going on behind closed doors. I don't know if I needed to see today's meetings and proceedings with Elon Musk at the joint.
I make mistakes.
See Lex Luthor.
Oh my God, it was so bad.
Did I make mistakes?
Yeah, we shut down Ebola prevention. Oops, that's not an oopsie. What in the frickin' frack?
No problem.
I think he also lied about fixing it.
Yeah,
there's some stuff going around about that. I haven't had a chance to follow it up yet, but I assume that he's lying about it.
$4 billion a day they're trying to cut, but every single no cuts have
Actually,
any.
yeah. Well, and I have so many people just. By the way, thank you everyone who is newly joining the Patti Vasquez show page on Facebook. We got 3,000 new followers because Jerry put up a cartoon a couple weeks ago, and it got 4.4 thousand comments. Like 1,000 shares.
You went viral.
Well, it was and people were. There was mostly angry people because it had a trans pride flag on it, so people were losing their minds. And then there was another one with Trump in a high chair. Elon behind the Oval Office desk. And so people started following us. So, hello and thank you for following the Patti Vasquez show page because you knew that Adam would be here. You knew that Maggie would be here. So stay up to date on upcoming shows by following my Patti Vasquez show page and get me up to 10,000. That would be fun. I have 8.4 thousand. So
we're doing it.
Let's do that.
Guys, everyone follow Patti Vasquez on Facebook.
I know we've got some callers who've been on hold. I'm going to ask you to hold on through the news because we only have a minute here anyway. So I do want to talk a little bit more about door knocking because that's what we're doing with Maggie and Operation Swing State. Adam, I think you and I, can you go back and how did you feel in those last days? I felt pretty confident.
I was feeling pretty good right up until the end. I had such a good night on election night. I was in the UK.
That's right.
But I was out with some friends. We walked 15,000 steps to end up right back where we started in Edinburgh and played the Simpsons arcade game in this little retro arcade bar after a great Bob Dylan concert.
Yeah.
And then went home to my hotel room and everything just fell apart.
Yeah. Because I think, Maggie, because we were doing all this work in the swing states.
Yeah.
And obviously we're going to targeted doors. We are going to system in Wisconsin. So that's operationswingstate.org.
Come join us.
Come join us and maybe stop with us at the Broad Stop. Maybe Adam will come with us. And I got to run. We got to do news break here. We'll continue in a moment.
Some adventures.
Yes. So, but were you optimistic? Because I was I was too optimistic.
I think what it was I was joyful.
Right.
I was hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that we had a really good opportunity that was handed to us with the switch over to Kamala Harris. What we weren't given were what the data was actually saying. And I think that's where the missteps from the DNC and, our local party chapters where, when you're proprietary with your data, that's where you have to question wait, but why aren't you telling
I had no idea. So all that information we're gathering on the doors was not necessarily being shared throughout the system wide.
It definitely is, but it's not being shared with the people that are going out, or they're not changing tactics and strategies.
Right.
Because what ended up happening is 7 million people did not come out to vote.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what happened. This was not a mandate. This was simply a turnout election. He did not win the popular vote. He didn't receive the majority of the votes. And so, just all that to say that we have to be better as Democrats and Democratic organizations, top to bottom, with sharing what the heck is going on.
Well, we are going up to Milwaukee on Saturday. You can go to operationswingstate.org, and it's every Saturday. There's a Supreme Court election, and there's school superintendent is also running against a challenger who wants to defund the entire system.
This is WCPT 820. Where facts matter.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. And hello to our friends listening in the evenings on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota. We're broadcasting here from Chicago on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. And if the signal starts to get a little bit fuzzy for you on your terrestrial radio, meaning your radio in your car or in your kitchen or your living room, you can always switch to the TuneIn app. That's a free app. Listen to us for free. You can also listen to us on heartlandsignal.com. Watch the live stream on Facebook Facebook or YouTube, where you can see my lovely guests. Joining me are Adam Selzer. He's a historian, author, and tour guide. Tomorrow, his tour of Chicago theater history will be benefiting Snellville Performing Arts. Go to Mysterious Chicago on Facebook, and you can also go to his website, adamchicago.com.
Everything.
And there you go. And you can also make sure that you sign up for alerts for one of their upcoming tours, because one of our listeners says that they, by the way, they gave me the address for Illuminated Brew Works on Northwest Highway. It's at 6186 Northwest Highway.
It's like right here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's right here. I grew up across the street from there.
Cool.
There's a great bar and restaurant in the old post office I used to go to, which is wild for me. And then this is in the wine shop is in the old dry cleaners. I don't know I think that where Illuminated is, it was probably also part of the dry cleaners. So it's kind of got that cool,
it is cool.
Really kind of funky, industrial look to it. It's a great spot. They do all the trivia stuff. They have a lot of fun events when it's holidays and like Halloween. Their bathrooms are awesome, which is a weird thing.
No, I love a good bathroom.
Right? I love a good bathroom. It's
if you have a good bathroom or a couch, you're more than 6 times likelier to get me there.
That's good to know. And also, our friend that shared that address said they've been on a couple cemetery tours, not since before the COVID, but they've been on some of your tours.
Oh, fantastic.
So that's awesome.
They're always changing. We're always finding new stories and new things to put. You don't think cemeteries change much, but they do.
Oh, I know.
They do.
He's written 2 books on Graceland's cemetery.
Oh, cool.
And that is Maggie O'Keefe, the committee woman for the 40th Ward. We're going up to Milwaukee on Saturday to go door knocking for Operation Swing State and to get the tell folks a little bit about the Supreme Court race, especially some folks who are just joining us.
So the current makeup of the Wisconsin Supreme Court is 4-3. There is a retiring Democratic judge, and Judge Susan Crawford is a Democrat. It is a nonpartisan race, but she is our pick for this upcoming election. She is a former lawyer for Planned Parenthood, and many other clients as well, but she's been serving on the circuit court for a few years now. And the extremist, Brad Schimmel, is the former attorney general in Wisconsin and known to be one of the worst attorney generals in the history of Wisconsin. Am I biased or not biased? Yes, but that's what they say. That's the talking point. So, some interesting facts about him, and you can make them for what they are. But as an attorney general, he let 6,000 rape kits go untested, which you're just leaving SA victims, waiting to hear, of their results. And then he also let a guy walk free, take a plea, I should say, take a plea deal after finding thousands of child pornography files on his computer. His lawyer gave him a donation to his campaign. So it's like these types of things where we need to question the integrity of a person running for office, the integrity of the Supreme Court in Wisconsin, a court that had provided fair maps in this last election cycle. And look, they were fair maps and Donald Trump still won. So, that's what fairness is. But, to that point, we need to make sure that people are right on the right side of history, that are going to represent the values of Wisconsinites. And I'm excited to go door knock because this is a turnout election, not a change election. And I think that's such an important thing to note, that you will be talking to strong Democrats that just need that extra push to get out to vote, right? Yeah. They might not vote in a 2025 election. They might be too tired to go vote in 4 months after the 2024 election. And so that's why it's so important to get people out on the doors.
I'm looking for Adam. I'm kind of looking forward to going to some of the doors that we went to before, where and just see how folks are doing almost,
right?
Almost like a wellness check for some of the people.
You guys are right. You need anything? Right. We got some soup out in the car.
Yes.
You need some soup.
Sorry to ask you to go vote again, but we have to ask you to go vote again. And some of the things that people are worried about. Let me get to Blanche. She's been on hold. Blanche is calling from Bellwood. You're on the air with Maggie and Adam, and I'm your host, Patty. What's on your mind, Blanche?
Yes, they claim that the post office being people are they slowing down the mail and everything, and then they can't deliver all the mail that because I talked to the post office people, and that's what's happening with them. They don't want to. They I guess they want to privatize that. I don't know.
That's the plan. Well, I just got an alert that I got a package that sat in a distribution center in Phoenix for 2 weeks, but it's here now.
Okay.
And when I contacted the post office about it, they called me on the phone. They were very nice about it. They said, yeah, a lot of things are kind of slowing up. And Trump says he's going to just do away with the post office and privatize it, even though it is. They set up the Postal Service in the Constitution.
Yeah.
This is not that he's ever read it, but, you know.
Well, they want you to go and pick up your mail now, which is a completely, inaccessible way for people who can't leave their home or homebound, you know.
And you get mail from different places,
right?
Too, so
work requirement to get your mail.
All your mail.
Exactly.
Some of it from out of town and everything, you know.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, now what are they doing to the you know, they start Medicare. I get Medicare, and they charging us for Medicare and everything.
Well, what happened though? Okay, this is one of the things I haven't been able to dive into, Blanche. Is the vote was taken last night. Speaker Johnson said they weren't going to vote on it, and they changed his mind, and everyone went scrambling
had
back.
To go back, yeah.
But people are like, oh, well, maybe Trump won't sign it. He asked them for it, right? Isn't this what he wanted? Yeah. So there are, from my understanding, they want to eliminate. They're not eliminating Medicare and Medicaid, but they are cutting funding for Medicare and Medicaid,
which is basically stopping it in its tracks. Maybe 1 in 3 people are on Medicaid in the state of Illinois.
Medicare, and they charging us more money. I had United Healthcare, and I'm still with United Healthcare, but the United Healthcare is charging where they didn't charge at all. You know, and everything. So now I got to pay $100 and something, you know, with the United Healthcare.
Well, that is something that's been going on too, that people are seeing that their drug prices are back up.
Yep, because the caps have been removed.
Yeah, in the executive order. So, well, we're so sorry to hear that that's happening to you, and all of us here didn't vote for that. I will tell you that. And I'm sure that the American people that voted for Trump didn't vote for that either.
So they charging me more money. So I usually pay my bill all the time.
Right.
And when I paid the bill at Loyola, and then they go put in the charge that I got to pay extra for Medicare, what the Trump put down on it and everything.
Blanche, do you have a case manager who's helping you navigate all the things that you have to make sure are lined up and affordability and things like that to connect you with services?
No, I don't have a case manager, but I'm able to pay my bills and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, but you should. But are you a senior, ma'am?
Yeah, I am a senior.
I would call your state representative or state senator to help them liaison for you through the Department of Aging. They might have some additional benefits or availability to go through your paperwork and, you know, make sure that.
Because I'm a retired teacher.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so
I'm a retired nurse, practical nurse at the VA.
Oh, thank you for your service.
VA. At the Hines VA, and so they charging you for, I don't know, it's just charging me. I didn't pay the bill, but then they put an extra bill because of Trump's thing. I don't know.
Right.
Anyway.
Oh man, see, and this is what I think people need to understand is. People like Blanche who have worked, you know, everyone always talks about like, you know, all this idea of like get a job. Here's Blanche who is retired from being a nurse at the VA and as a teacher and still kind of being at the sharp end of the stick while they do this entirely to give tax cuts to the ultra wealthy.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Blanche.
They're going to be charging, teacher. They're going to be charging the teachers money, you know, taking money out of the teachers' pensions and everything. So I used to do teaching too.
Yeah.
So
I know.
I got quite a few professions that I do. I got practical nursing and teaching and everything.
Do you? What suburb do you live in, Blanche? Oh, in Bellwood. Do you live in Bellwood?
Do you know your local representative there? Do you know your local state electeds?
Well, I got to find out.
Or your congressperson?
Congress, not too for me, but I can find out anyway.
Yeah, for sure. I would go those routes. You're not just needing to call the switchboards to, promote your dissent or distaste for this current administration. You can also ask them for services and casework. That's what their job is to manage cases for their constituency.
And then lower my United Healthcare. They're going to lower my
that's what I think.
United Healthcare. United Healthcare has didn't used to charge me anything.
Let me get some information to Lady B. Someone just sent me information about age options. So hold on the line. And Lady B, do you have access to our text screen? Hold on the line, Blanche, and let me get some information to you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Stand by. Let me put you on hold there. Don't hang up. Don't hang up, Blanche. Thank you, Wendy, for sending that information. I appreciate that. Because, it's so hard, no matter who you are, to navigate all the different services and making sure you have everything covered. Before we go to the break, let me get to, do I have a minute here? Let me get to Jim. Jim, what's on your mind, my friend? You've been on hold for so long.
Yeah, that's right. We lost our first citizen in a decade to polio.
Measles.
These are real.
Sorry.
Measles. I mean, measles.
Yeah.
I go back to when I was a kid. But how we politicize medicine is an amazement to me. Mm-hmm. Before the internet, I don't recall people debating medicine. But now it's a sport. But think of what's going on in the House. They're going to take away Medicaid from God knows how many people. Think about people in difficult circumstances that might not have enough money to get their kid vaccinated or get to the hospital to get their kid vaccinated. How many people are going to lose their life because of insane nonsense of politicizing medicine? I can't believe civilization has come to this point. It's repulsive. I mean, when I was a kid, it was polio, and my first friend had polio, and he had all the toys, all that stuff. I was only a little kid, and I said, "Man, what? Well, he's got polio." Anyway, we all had to go get in a bus and go get a polio shot. There was no arguments. There was no politicization of the vaccine. In fact, Jonas Salk said exactly this. They asked him, Jonas, do you want any money for this vaccination? He goes, would I charge you for the sun?
Wow.
Would I charge you for the sun? But I mean, we lived in a different time when it was altruistic time. Now we're in a time where the avarice is absolutely beyond belief. When you've got Musk in a meeting today with the first cabinet meeting, and they're paying homage to him. Yeah. Paying homage to Musk. He's got a hat on and a T-shirt.
Right.
Not even dressed like a gentleman. Not even dressed like a gentleman. He comes in. This shows you the absolute the animosity he has for America.
Absolutely.
I mean, he doesn't even come in. Not even be dressed as a gentleman, and they're paying homage to him, applauding him. Every time he belches, they applaud.
Yeah.
Because of the avarice.
Yep.
The adoration for money. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely obscene. But anyway, I don't know, mass demonstrations. I don't know what's going to happen. But of course, you got this nuts. They'll probably take a few shots at us. We're going to have to be like some people have to sacrifice their lives to claw back some kind of a sane world here. Anyway, you guys, thanks for taking my call.
Thanks, Jim. And actually, he led to a good point. When we come back with Maggie O'Keefe, committeewoman of the 40th Ward, and Adam Selzer, author, historian, and tour guide, we'll talk about some of these protests. And Friday is one of the first economic.
Some good news in Apple yesterday.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah,
let's
my first proxy vote.
Wow. Oh, there you go. Okay. More after this on WCPT 820, Heartland Signal.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or
and Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez on WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. And hello to our friends listening on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Of course, we're here in Chicago on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. And this show is brought to you by Source Solar. Go to source.solar for all your solar needs. Make an appointment with them and join the over 100,000 happy customers who have had solar panels installed in their homes, saved money, and done the right thing for the environment. Joining me in studio is historian, author, and tour guide Adam Selzer. Adam, your tour tomorrow is at
8 o'clock Chicago time. It'll be about Chicago theatrical history and the growth of theater in Chicago. Back in the old days, they were just working out of taverns and stuff. Well, the first one that opened, I just found this out. This was cool. There's not a lot of great records about who the first performer there was, but the consensus is it was a show called The Four Sisters, starring Louisa Lane, who played all four sisters. Later, she would a couple of marriages later, her name was Louisa Drew, which was the name she kept. Then her son-in-law was Mr. Barrymore. So she is the matriarch. She's the great-great-grandmother of Drew Barrymore.
Holy cats!
Cool. And hence the name Drew, I guess.
You know, folks, you've got to check. Hold on. I feel like taking this call from Sun Prairie. Hold on. Hi, this is Patti Vasquez. I'm actually on the air right now. Are you calling for the Walworth County Dems for door knocking? Hello? I don't want to talk.
Well, is your refrigerator running, Patty?
Yes, I know. I was like, I'm going to take this call. So funny. There are so many things that Adam uncovers, and even like stories that you should know. And this, watch me fold this into the event that Maggie wants to talk about. So during the pandemic, Adam also hired other performers to participate, like be kind of like the actors, like from the time period. And what I learned, Maggie, was that in the 1970s, up until the 1970s, women were not allowed to sit at the bar alone. Anyway, like we couldn't sit at a bar alone. And so a group invited Lily Tomlin to come and stage a protest with them and sit alone at the bar. And she helped overturn that legislation in Chicago.
Mr. Kelly's.
And Mr. Kelly's.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, but that's why. So, I mean, this whole idea of DEI that, oh, come on, why would you lower the standards? And I love what Tom Hartman said. It's not about lowering the standards for people of color, with disabilities, or with different backgrounds, or veterans. It's not to make sure that unqualified people in those demographics are hired. It's to make sure that unqualified white guys aren't. Correct. Correct. If we frame it that way, that's all. So you have the International Women's March coming up on March 8th.
Yeah, my business partner and I, Demi Palachek, we run a feminist social club called Gems for Femmes, because we're both Geminis. And and so we took on the International Women's Rally and March on Saturday, March 8th at Daley Plaza, and then we'll be marching our butts over to Trump Tower to give it maybe a big middle finger.
Oh, boy.
Or whatever you want.
Were you at Chicago Moon's, the Trump Tower?
I was not there.
Oh, that was such a good one. No. That was so much fun.
He wasn't there. So yeah, we're going to be doing that at 11:30 on Saturday, March 8th at Daley Plaza. All are welcome, 50 West Washington, and we'll take our sweet time to walk the streets with our probably incredible signs. That's my favorite thing.
Signs
about protests is
it brings out so much creativity.
So creative. Women are just so creative. They're
I remember after one of the women's marches, I said something to that effect on Twitter, and somebody accused me of so you didn't know women could be creative before. It's like, that's not what I said.
I know, yeah.
That was what young adult literature Twitter was like at the time.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Those days.
I still am sort of scarred from all of that. I can't read fiction anymore. As I'm always thinking every line is like, how could they skew this if I wrote this?
Yeah.
How could they have a bad? What bad faith take could they come up with this?
Yeah, that's the wokeness they talk about.
I have encountered that side of it. It's out there.
It's so crazy. Like, when you think about that, right? That the earlier times of social media or whatever, however you came to it. I mean, like for me, it was like, I haven't seen Guido Visconti since we graduated 8th grade. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And then you find out like his politics, and you go, I wish I had never seen him again. And, like, it kind of became that along the way. And
sure did.
But then, like, obviously with the Russian stuff and the trolling and the fighting. I mean, I was a big fighter in, like, I would say 14, 15 around then with people online.
Physical? Online.
Arguing and, like, I have my sources.
Like message boards?
Yeah. It was just, like, even in feeds. The first thing that got a lot of attention for me on Facebook, I would say, was when Chick-fil-A, we learned about how they were anti-gay marriage and all that. So and then, like, just like hundreds of comments on my post about that. I wrote an essay called F. Jenny McCarthy about her stance on vaccinations, but it was before we were this crazy about it.
No, but that's probably one of the first
elements.
I really do think that was like maybe a seed of many seeds, right? It doesn't just take one seed to have a whole garden, but like one seed of many that has created this misinformation about I mean, I have a cousin who is all about anti-vaccinations, and it's like, well, you're fine, and you had all of your vaccinations. Like, you're completely normal. And completely
are they though?
Are they though?
Are they though?
Well, and we laugh, but the sad thing is,
we laugh that we may not cry.
Well, right, no, and exactly, because a child has died, and actually RFK Jr. in this joint cabinet meeting said that 2 have died. So I don't know, and he says he's monitoring it. He said that, it's natural; these kinds of things happen. Measles.
Oh, right, measles.
Yeah, measles.
And it happened for 10 years, and before that, it had been like 17 before that.
The CDC had taken it off the list of any kind of threat, and I think in 2000. So 25 years, and there have been outbreaks. And to your point, like with not just Jenny McCarthy, it was like these. They called them the limo liberals because it was like sort of the elite. Who I knew some women in Los Angeles who absolutely believe that their children, and even though the whole thing has been debunked, people often talk about that paper from England. What they don't talk about is apparently somebody had posed it as a question to cover at a medical convention. They're like, hey, I've noticed this thing. It was just sort of like, hey, has anyone looked into this? Kind of a question. And then that took fire with then these false investigations or studies in England. And here we still are.
Yeah, well, that's what they're doing with abortion pills or Plan B. That there's this new study out that said, like, well, if you take it double and you also take a half a bottle of scotch, then you're going to have an abortion. It's like, well, okay, but but that's what they're going to fight all the way up to the Supreme Court to then make abortion pills illegal. So, and
that's one of the reasons to get rid of telehealth too, because one of the ways women are prescribed abortion pills is through telehealth. Yep. Those consultations. Well, before we go to the break, then let me watch me reset the table. Adam, what was the first car you ever owned?
The first car I ever owned was a 1985 Chevy Celebrity station wagon that I bought from my dad for $600.
Really?
Which is about $500 more than anybody in their right mind would have paid for that car.
I love it.
The old 80, it had over 200,000 miles on it already, and I don't know how we kept that thing moving. It stalled on me constantly.
Oh, of course. Mine was a 1994 Ford Escort, candy apple red.
I love it.
When I opened the door, the seatbelt comes up.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I forgot about those. We're going to talk about both those cars.
It was 2007, by the way.
Oh my god! I'm looking at this. This wagon is pretty cool. It didn't have the wood paneling, did it?
Let me see if I can find a picture of it.
Mine was technically my first was a blue Subaru Brat. I don't know the year, but the car that I actually ended up driving as my first car was a 1976 Toyota Corolla, also wagon.
Toyota.
Let's take a break here, and the reason we're doing that resetting the tables because Tom Appel's going to join us in the studio. Let's find out how the Chicago Auto Show went. More after this on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
If you're listening to this station right now, you've definitely heard my voice before. Hi, I'm Hawk.
And I'm Pete. And we're with Source Solar, your local source for solar. Source Solar is Chicagoland's premier solar installer, providing solutions for over 1,000 homeowners and business owners across Illinois and Iowa.
With over a decade of industry experience and deep roots here in Chicago, we have the expertise to help your transition to clean, renewable, resilient energy.
We can guarantee that we save you money day one without any out-of-pocket cost to you. This means you have an instant ROI, instant payback, and can save money to add to your bottom line day one.
At Source Solar, we source everything as local as possible, meaning we always carry the Made in USA sticker.
Find us online at www.source.solar. Stop in our office at 5710 North Northwest Highway or give us a call at 773-985-3992.
And don't forget to ask for Hawk
or
and Pete.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for joining us as we continue to drive it home. I'm your host, Patti Vasquez, and hi to our friends listening on KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota, joining us here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal in Chicago. And joining us in the studio, continuing is Adam Selzer, author, historian, and tour guide. His tour tomorrow, 8 p.m., Chicago's Theater History. Mysterious Chicago on Facebook. Maggie O'Keefe and I will be door knocking, and possibly with Adam, in Milwaukee with Operation Swing State. Go to operationswingstate.org to find out more information. Where do they find out about the International Women's?
Go to the womensmarch.org website and then type in your zip code. And if you're a Chicago person or a Chicago local, you'll find it.
Excellent. And then Car Guy Tom. I didn't mean to be more excited about Tom. You guys have been here. Car Guy Tom is here. Hey. I thank you for being so gracious and flexible about our regularly scheduled
always
gatherings. And you were at the car show. I know it's been a couple weeks since the car show wrapped up, but how did it go this year? What was your sense of it?
It was good. It was a little bit more compact, which was nice because everything was in the South Hall, which is the big hall.
Right.
But it was very electric this year.
Oh.
In a good way. They had 2 electric test tracks, which is pretty cool. You could actually accompany, drive an electric car indoors. So just driving a car indoors is kind of cool.
Okay.
It's kind of fun. But Rivian was there in a big way. And for people who don't know, we should have a rooting interest in Rivian.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
We do, don't we?
Yeah, because Rivian builds cars in Illinois.
Right.
That's cool. 2, they're EV, they're uncontroversial, and they're building good products. And they're trying to source stuff in the U.S. So everything that's happening at Rivian is cool. And they're about to bring out smaller vehicles.
Oh, they are.
More affordable vehicles.
I was going to say,
because 80K is rough.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
80's outside my price point is all I'm saying. But they're big SUVs.
They are. They're nearly full size.
Right.
Very well liked, but expensive. And they tend to come in over the EPA federal tax credit.
Okay.
I should say IRS.
Gotcha.
Federal tax credit.
Who knows what any of it's going to be in the next few months and years.
Law introduced to cancel the tax credits, unfortunately. We'll see where that goes. It's possible it doesn't pass simply because a lot of the investment in electric vehicle infrastructure goes to red states. So this is very weird. This is very weird because red states do benefit from the manufacturing of electric vehicles, and especially electric vehicle batteries.
How's Tesla doing?
Tesla is doing terrible.
Yay! Have you seen how that stock is doing?
I know,
the last month or so?
It's so much deeper than the stock, though. The Cybertruck was supposed to take up half the capacity of the new Austin Gigafactory, and it's not selling at all. They're selling 40,000 units now at an annualized pace, which means they're not going to build a factory in Mexico. They're never going to build a smaller, more affordable car. They've got a plant utilization issue. Plus, sales are off by half in Europe and by a huge chunk in China. Tesla's in big trouble.
Have you driven one of these tanks?
I've never driven a Cybertruck, no.
Because there was a story for about 24 hours that they had a contract. Now, it's all, we can get into the weeds about what the contract for $400 million worth of armored vehicles. But at any rate, I mean, that seems like the only path for them to then start clawing back some of their profits, I would imagine, or productivity and manufacturing. But, okay, so enough of them. So Rivian was great at the car show. show. What else did you like at the car show? What else caught your eye?
Oh, man. What else caught my eye at the auto show? That's a great question. I think that what I'm really liking is design again. And the good news is it's got nothing to do with anything political. Color is back.
Oh, color's back.
Now, this is up to the public now, right?
Yes.
Dealers do not stock color.
Okay.
And dealers don't stock color because it's easy to sell white, gray, and black vehicles. Because they offend people the least and they can sell it out of inventory.
Sure.
So you as a customer have to be patient, order the color you want, and wait for it to show up. The color is out there. It's available.
Ask Adam what color his is.
Yeah. Well, mine is orange, but it is. I had to make it orange. I had to have it painted. Well, I made a decision a long time ago. I don't want to drive cars that are white, gray, or white, silver, or black.
I wish everyone would make that decision.
Well, yeah, it was there's the Hank Hill line. Why don't they make brown cars anymore?
Brown, yeah.
And so I got a really good deal on my car, but it was silver, and I couldn't find it in parking lots. For one thing, when I was thinking about having it painted, I went to talk and get an estimate on it. And I was thinking, oh man, it's way more than I really want to spend. Then I went out and it was just parked on the street. There were only 4 other cars, and I wasn't sure which one was mine. So yeah, I had it painted at Mako, and they did really an excellent job. You know, it's not like Earl Shaw's going to paint your car for $99.95, but it's a little more than $99.95.
Right.
But
someone just sent me their first car. By the way, I always love asking people what their first car was, and theirs was a 1949 Ford, and it's a really cool shade. It almost looks like it's purplish brown, maybe, but it looks really. It's super cute.
That was, people don't know this anymore, but the 49 Ford was a really big deal. It was kind of radical. It was modern looking. You can't tell that now. Like, history doesn't allow you to remember what was modern looking 50 years ago, but yeah, important car, great looking car.
It's beautiful. I love it. And the grill, because the grill's kind of almost Art Deco looking.
Yeah.
So it's very, very cool. Have you guys, Maggie, Adam, have you ever been to an auto show?
No.
Not since I was a kid.
I feel like even though cars might not be your thing, I do feel like everyone should go to one, like in their lives. So we'll figure out a way to take you next year.
I went to one about 1991. There were 2 There were both the Tim Burton Batmobile and the Adam West Batmobile, and RoboCop was there personally.
Oh wow! Now see that I see that counts. I'm gonna say that counts, Tom. Don't you think?
World of
I mean, if you have a Real Housewife there, then I'll go.
Oh my god!
Just kidding.
I went. My first one was 1986, and I've been to a few, and then sometimes because of radio that you're there. What was there? Was there a lot of, like, the same kind of media coverage that it's gotten in the past? Because a lot of radio stations used to broadcast from there.
No, this is super controversial now, and it's a big deal to the media itself, which is whining about this, but manufacturers are no longer making news at auto shows, so there aren't product reveals. There are fewer concept cars. There are fewer news items. So the media is all annoyed by the auto show, but the auto show still has everything you want to see. So it's not a media event as much. But no, radio stations don't seem to go there as much. There's less live coverage from TV shows. Although I think the 3 major networks in Chicago locals did do
coverage.
Did do some coverage. Yeah,
because I mean, like they would have like the big platforms like built for the radio stations. It was wild. I just remember being there with WG, and I'm like, this is cool. And then like the big gallon.
I was on some platform that was like 15 feet up. It was really weird.
Yeah, it's very strange. You
could see the whole hall.
Yeah, which is
cool.
Fun. Was there good swag?
Swag is gone.
What?
Swag is gone.
In 1949 with that Ford.
When I used to go to the auto show in the 70s as a kid, I would get every brochure of every single car. And you'd walk around these giant overstuffed bags, and the plastic handles would rip off. So you'd have to carry up like a purse.
Yeah.
That was way before QR codes.
Now,
if you get anything, you get a business card with a QR code.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Not even a pen?
No.
Damn.
Swag was cool. I don't know where those brochures went. My dad threw them out. I know it.
Oh, no. Man, those would be kind of fun to have.
Yeah. Kind of fun to sell on eBay.
I was going to say, but you folks buy that kind of stuff. I do. I like the car show. So what's in the news for cars right now? Besides
buy one.
Here's the hot thing right now, and not enough people know this, I think, but if you are thinking electric, and you think electrics are expensive, which they kind of are, this is the time to buy a used electric car before the federal tax credit goes away, because there's $4,000 on a car, and used EVs are cheap.
Okay.
And by cheap, I mean there's a lot of them out there for under 25 grand. And then they need to be under 25 grand to qualify for the federal tax credit.
I know. Maggie and I are like, I don't know if I can do that.
I went with a hybrid. That's what I'm paying off right now.
Yeah, that's.
I think we all have hybrids.
Yeah, I have a hybrid. I wouldn't have a place to plug in a plug-in car.
Well, that's a city problem.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem with the infrastructure, and we're not going to see any infrastructure growth now for 4 years. So
what? You ain't got no money.
Oh my God. Well, we're not going to get any money either from the federal government.
Right.
Yeah. What are there cities that do their infrastructure better when it comes to EV? Have you heard anything about?
Yeah, one of the things we're seeing, like in California, local zoning in some cities requires that new properties, new constructions have level 2 charging or home charging built in.
Yeah.
Don't we have that here?
Not required.
Okay.
Unless like Evanston. Like Evanston always does crazy things. Maybe they do. Right. But I'm not aware of that in Illinois.
Huh. That's wild.
Required EV2 infrastructure.
I thought
I think you may have to wire for it.
I see.
Wow.
You don't have to. Okay.
But I don't think you have to install the actual.
Mm-hmm.
Well, especially for apartment, you guys both live in apartments, it would be tough.
Right.
Yes. It would make it even harder.
I mean, I do get a parking space with my apartment. It's just like some gravel out back. I don't know where we're going to put the charger.
Not ready for the charger, yeah.
It would be one heck of an extension cord.
Now, hybrids don't have any sort of rebate, but they're still doing pretty well.
But hybrids are crazy hot right now.
Yeah.
Because you know what happened? The new boogeyman is electrics. Electrics are scary, and then hybrids became unscary.
Yeah.
That's like a level of scary behind us now.
Yeah.
And they've been on the market for so long, right?
Yeah.
Like since 20 years.
I have two.
Yeah.
I have a Prius and a RAV. I love my
RAV.
And they've been really reliable, right?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Toyota hybrids are the best.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
That's really we were talking about my Chevy Celebrity wagon when I decided I was in a position that I can actually buy a car again in the city. And I just asked every mechanic, what kind should I get? They all said get a Toyota hybrid because I did not want any maintenance. I didn't want my car breaking down on me every other turn. I didn't want to get stranded out in like a field full of cows.
Both cars are great.
I didn't want to get stranded in Alabama where the tow truck driver would have warned me I might have to stay in a non-white motel.
What year is your RAV, Maggie?
2021.
Yours is even mine's just 2018. You guys are, and yours.
I got a 22 Prius now.
Now, do you guys remember when every single cab in Chicago was a Camry hybrid?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Every used Camry hybrid, just like a magnet, was sucked into Chicago, and every cabbie grabbed them because they were reliable and roomy.
Yeah.
They were the perfect, but they all aged out really quickly.
Yeah. For a while, it seemed like a lot of them were Priuses, which I think is smart. If you're, a lot of Uber drivers are Prius drivers.
Yeah, and you've got the hatch and the decent sized back seat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So you have a 22, you said?
21,
21.
Yeah.
So it has a bigger screen on the dash.
It has a bit, but we went with the 1 year. Like in 22, I think that
is when
the screen is really
bigger. Yeah. I don't
need that.
That drove me away from.
I don't need that.
Yeah.
Makers want you to need that.
Well,
I know.
That's how they differentiate lower trim levels from higher trim levels. Bigger screen.
Yeah. Do you have a screen in your 22?
There's a screen. Yeah, it's not enormous or anything, but it's big enough that I can see the map and the music that's playing at a calendar alert.
Gotcha.
There you go. Same.
My friend she rented it's like a high-end Kia, like sort of sporty car. It was like a bright fluorescent green, but the panel was like it was so high tech. It was like all like. The dash was
that is the thing now, is the single contiguous panel. So it goes from the console through the IP, and it's all one pane, and it looks really cool. And it looks really cool when it's off.
Yes.
Because it's a very simple design. But that's hot right now, and every maker is going to that.
Oh, boy.
The problem I haven't solved yet is the problem of glare from the sun on the panel around the screen. If the sun is hitting that just right, I've got to find a towel or something in the back that I can just put over the screen.
Yeah, see, that's why I think screens for me. But can't you control it through the dimming? Yeah.
Well, no, it's because it's the sun on the plastic itself.
Gotcha.
It's just bouncing back into my eyeballs.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be some kind of workaround, like get myself a pull down old map or something mounted onto it.
So, Tom, what car are you driving this week?
I'm driving the silliest car possible, and it was just dropped on me because it wasn't on my schedule, but I'm delighted. It's the GR Corolla. So it's a Corolla hatchback. That doesn't sound crazy, but GR gets you a ridiculous 300 horsepower, tiny little 3-cylinder turbocharged engine, sports suspension, all sorts of gewgaws on the outside. It is absolutely a thrill to drive. And I think that if I had to commute in this every day for a year, I would kill myself. But to drive it for a week, or if I was 30 years younger, I would think this is the greatest thing in the world.
It looks like kind of like a sneaker almost.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's
and it's weird looking, and it's a delightful car.
Awesome.
Yeah, a little expensive, but if you really want something sporty and you're really dedicated to having fun in a car, this is a wonderful car.
And it comes in candy apple red, my friend Maggie.
That was my first car.
Mine is red.
It comes in a cool blue, too, it looks like.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's take a break here. We got a caller on the line. We'll take that call when we come back on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal and KTNF AM 950 Minneapolis, St. Paul. We're in studio with Adam Selzer, Maggie O'Keefe, and Tom Appel. And we'll come back with our conversation after this. Mm-hmm.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Hi, this is Patti Vasquez. We appreciate all our fans of Driving at Home, and your support of show sponsor Minocqua Brewing Company ensures that our important conversations continue right here on WCPT each weekday from 5 to 7 p.m. You can now find the Resistance IPA, Labor Lager, or the Resistance Pilsner beer at several Illinois locations, including Arminetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Pineapple and Company in North Riverside, Lions Beverage Depot in Arlington Heights, and MP's Liquor, Wine, and Beer in North Aurora. For a full list of Chicagoland locations, please visit MinocquaBrewingCompany.com. As always, please vote and drink responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
There's so much that goes on behind closed doors.
On WCPT 820.
That's why it's so important for you to be tuning in to WCPT all day long. Have it on the background. Tomorrow on Choose Views, Richard's guest will be Elliot Richardson, president and co-founder of the Small Business Advocacy Council, and Brian Lemick, executive director of Defend the Vote. And they'll be talking about the SAVE Act. Oh, my gosh. Okay, we have to, I know we need to cover that at some point, too. Maggie's got to come back. Tomorrow on Live Local and Progressive. Oh, that's Richard Choose Views, 6 to 8 a.m. right here on WCPT. And tomorrow on Live Local and Progressive, Joan Esposito will be joined by Chris Lehman, D.C. Bureau Chief for the Nation, and Mark Jacob and Jennifer Chelsea, which is the best conversation about media. And I'm curious to see what they have to say. Of course, they're going to unload about Bezos' decision when it comes to opinion pieces and editorials. That'll be tomorrow from 2 to 5 on WCPT 820 on Joan Esposito's show, Live Local and Progressive. And tomorrow, I'm excited because we have Carmen Navarro-Jarcone and our guest co-hosting, and our guests will be including Representative James Tallarico. I don't know if you guys are familiar with James Tallarico, but he is a pastor. If you've seen any of these videos where he talks about how Republicans who pretend to be Christians are hypocrites, he also talks about the billionaires who are getting in and mushing up the government in Texas and using their money. So he's going to be great. He'll be on tomorrow at the top of the show, and we're going to have Laura Tennyson, who was a witness and I believe videotaped she was a witness to the arrest. Remember that woman being dragged out of the town hall meeting in Idaho? Yeah. So she was in the room. So we're going to talk to Laura Tennyson tomorrow. Just a lot going on. Tom Appel, our car guy, follow him on social media, Car Guy Tom, and sign up for the newsletter.
Yeah. I always forget. Car stuff at consumerguide.com.
I know. Maybe I should write it down before we start. So for you, we have a listener who wants Dave from Hoffman Estates wants to talk about electric cars. Hey, Dave, what's on your mind?
Hey, Patty. A little bit back, I had heard something where Hertz was clearing out a bunch of those the EVs, because a lot of people did not want to rent the EVs. And they could use EVs, from Hertz sales. Is that true?
Someday when we plot the timeline of Tesla's demise, the Hertz decision to sell off its Tesla products is going to play big into this, because it's part of the reason that Tesla sales were down last year and why Tesla profits are down. Hertz had committed to 60,000 EVs, most of them Teslas. Some of them were Polestars, if you know what that is. But it didn't matter. But it didn't work. People didn't want to rent electric vehicles on a regular basis, so Hertz quickly dumped. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they dumped 20,000 really fast, and then dumped 10,000 more after that. Rapidly, just amazingly driving down the value of used electric cars and used Teslas. And those prices were so attractive that people stopped buying new Teslas to buy the used Teslas. And that's why Tesla sales were down in 2024, and they lost their pricing power. They had to keep discounting their cars to sell the new ones. So, yeah, that absolutely happened. Hertz does still rent electric vehicles, but not as many.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's kind of hard. Thank you for calling, Dave. I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. And a listener asks about the Subaru. How good is the new electric Subaru that can charge on 110 volts?
it can charge at 110 volts. You're going to want regular charging. But we're talking about the Solterra. So it's a compact EV crossover. It's nice. It's based on Toyota product, the BZ4X. Exact same vehicle, basically, but all-wheel drive standard because that's like a Subaru thing. Very nice car. Range is limited. It's a little bit expensive. I would shop around to see what kind of a deal you can get. I like the car a lot. Fun to drive, quick, nice interior, really well screwed together. But there are cheaper, more affordable EVs out there.
Thank you for messaging, Paul. Always great to hear from you, by the way. That's Paul Latham, who's been a fan and a friend for quite a while. I was wondering about this. A listener messaged us a few weeks ago. Mirna messaged us pictures of these little... Have you seen these little tiny Mexican cars that the president of Mexico announced they're going to start having manufactured in Mexico? They come in like 3 different sizes, kind of like almost like those little tiny, those little cars that look like they can roll up in the back of a van.
Nice.
those little smart cars, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Have you heard about this?
Well, they're Chinese cars, and they can be built on there. They could never be imported to the U.S., even if it was legal, because it wouldn't be legal. They wouldn't qualify for basic standards,
for our
crash testing
safety,
and things like that.
That figures.
Yeah, so here's a fun fact about Mexico and Chinese cars, though. Most of the Chevy lineup in Mexico is built in China. Little known fact.
Really?
Yeah. More than half the lineup. They import them. General Motors does big business in China, not as much as they'd like, but they import Chinese cars that they sell as Chevys down there because Mexico doesn't really have a national brand, and they don't have an industry with any brand identity. So Mexican nationals, consumers down there, don't really care about brand, and they will gladly buy something that's Chinese built because they don't, no problem for them.
Gotcha. Well, it's Tom Appel. Again, sign up for his newsletter. We always love having him in at the end of the month. I want to make sure people know everything they need to know about the theater tour tomorrow and the organization it's benefiting.
Yeah, it's the Snellville Performing Arts down in Snellville, Georgia. It's a lifeline and a safe space, a very inclusive space for kids in an area that really need one. So my nephew performs there. It's a great organization. So tomorrow night, my virtual tour for the week will be virtual theater history in Chicago, and it's all benefiting Snellville Performing Arts. So go to the Mysterious Chicago Facebook or just check adamchicago.com. You'll find links to other ways to tune in. It's free to watch. Just throw them some cash.
And throw an extra tip to convince Adam to come with me to Milwaukee to go door knocking with Operation Swing State.
If I can manage it.
No, I know. I'm not trying to pressure you.
You can sleep. I'll drive.
No, that's we'll talk.
You guys don't live that far from each other, actually.
Yeah.
So tell folks how they can join us either this Saturday or any Saturday going forward.
Every Saturday in March, we are going up to Wisconsin to support Judge Susan Crawford for the Wisconsin Supreme Court, so we can hold our 4-3 balance on the courts, and through operationswingstate.com you can either drive up directly, meet me there, or meet us at a staging location across Chicagoland.
And for the Women's International March?
Yes, we are hosting the rally and march on Saturday, March 8th for the International Women's Day at Daly Plaza. Go to womensmarch.org, type in your zip code, and you will find us.
And where's the most recent Car Stuff podcast, the folks? What should we be looking for?
Oh, we just had a fun podcast. This is entirely non-controversial. We talked to the folks at Panasonic about car audio. Panasonic is in league with Klipsch. If you remember this brand from the 70s and 80s, super high-end home audio, now being put in Nissan and Infiniti products. It's incredibly good. Ooh. So if you're rich and you really like good sound, you want to listen to this podcast, or if you're really just into audiophile stuff, check it out.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything better than like cranking the tunes on a summer day with the windows rolled down and just riding the airwaves with your hands?
Yeah, Cruel Summer, Taylor Swift, all day.
Mine is the drum riff with Phil Collins.
Oh, the Magic Break, yeah.
I don't know, but that's right here. Like there's a stretch of Devon. I just have that memory of driving down through the forest preserve,
like through the woods. Yeah.
Yes, right. Yeah. So that's
the road to Superdog.
Correct, my friend. Yes, very good.
Just guessed my dinner plans.
I'm having brats. Adam's having. It's all kinds of smoked meats.
Smoked meat night.
It's smoked meat night. Well, thank you all so much. Adam, one more time where folks can find you.
AdamChicago.com.
And Tom?
ConsumerGuide.com.
Excellent. And Maggie?
40thWardDems.org or MaggieO'Keefe.com.
Join all of our guests. And, of course, we want to thank our sponsor, Source Solar. Go to source.solar to find out about your eligibility for making an appointment, becoming one of the over 100,000 happy customers who have put solar panels on their homes. And we're looking forward to conversations with them. Randy Rhodes is coming up next, followed by Matt McNeil. Thank you so much, Lady B. Everyone have a great evening. Be safe. And we'll be back tomorrow.